Oh, we rise, we unite, from the mountains to the sea, warriors for the love, you and me. We are the new tribe of the earth, connecting our spirits, remembering our worth. First Nation standing hand in hand, healing the wounds, restoring the land. With every heartbeat, we sing our song, together as one, where we all belong. From the shadows, we emerge with pride. Rainbow warriors, walking side by side.
From the Ozark foothills of northeast Arkansas, I'm Carl Richardson, and this is Midnight Frequency Radio. Our guest this evening is Chief Mel Standing Eagle. Chief Mel Standing Eagle, bringer of spiritual messengers, is an elected feathered peace chief and pipe carrier. Mel was feathered by Chief Louis Chavez of the Bigger Creek Nation in August of 2009. Standing Eagle has been blessed to travel and work with Chief Sonny Reyna, Godfather Wallace Black Elk, and others over the years. He is now the carrier of the sacred bundle carried by Robert Ghostwolf, used by the Hopi elders believed to have come from the Mayan. Mel Standing Eagle continues to carry the traditions and research done by Ghostwolf, continuing visions of the future that echo Native American prophecies preserved by the Hopi, Lakota, and Sioux, foretelling a new era for humanity and the rise of the Rainbow Warriors. These spiritually awakened individuals draw from all cultures. We're foreseen to emerge during a time of global crisis to restore Mother Earth's balance and harmony. Chief Mel Standing Eagle collaborates with tribal elders from around the globe and offers to restore the earth as the Creator had planned. He is recognized for his work with First Nations worldwide. Good evening, Mel Standing Eagle. Welcome to Midnight Frequency Radio.
Good evening, Carl, and it's my pleasure to join you.
Well, it's my pleasure that everything's working. So,
a lot of atmospheric interference going on with networks all over the world, I've noticed the last 3 days.
Yes, sir. It's also affecting amateur radio HF bands pretty bad. So, and my understanding is you know Art Bell for quite a long period of time. I hate to ask because knowing Art, any kind of stories that he's involved with are crazy.
Got to love who? I mean, who could not love Art? I mean, he was one of a kind, and his sense of humor and the way he looked at things.
He had one of the wickedest sense of humors I have ever met in any person on the face of this earth.
Oh Lord! So, I actually was on his show a half a dozen times. I first got on his show was because of my work with Daniel Brinkley. He and Art were, as you well know, very good friends. And we have been involved with Coast to Coast ever since Art Bell. I think Daniel, the Veterans Report this past November was the 29th year in a row that we've done that. And so Daniel, as you know, Daniel's been hit by lightning twice and had a brain aneurysm. Like Daniel, I was hit by lightning twice. I wasn't quite as, I guess, badass as him because they didn't kill me. So, but Daniel had just came in from a plane and just barely made it home and fell over in the floor. And his dad called me up, and there's no doctors in Aiken, South Carolina that could begin to take care of Daniel Brinkley because of the heart damage from when he was struck by lightning. And Daniel was dizzy. He couldn't walk. We got him up on the sofa, And then finally, Papa said, get him to the hospital. Well, the only hospital that we could get him to that had the uh, people the staffing that could possibly take care of him was in Charleston, approximately 120 miles away. And that's where Danion's cardiologist was. So 6'2", and I'm like 5'5". This is a mutt and Jeff. I'm dragging him out to the car, and his dad's trying to help me, and his dad's in pretty bad shape, his own self, age on him. So I got him in the automobile. That was back in the day when we had those cell phones with the 200-watt amps in the trunk.
Oh, yeah.
You could be down in BF Egypt and be talking, not like these little things now that if you're not near a tower, you're in trouble. But I was on the phone. His cardiologist just happened to be out of town, so they was lining up other cardiologists. I'm cutting through country towns and this is late night, getting to the interstate to get down to Charleston, and I'm running 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. When I got to the interstate, I was running over 100 an hour, and I ended up with a police escort because they were called in to help get me into the city of Charleston into the hospital. So Daniel had an interview coming up, so I had to call Art and let Art know Daniel was in a hospital and he had a brain aneurysm. So Art told me he was going to be on a plane. Well, he and Ramona was on a plane. So they flew in. I picked him up. We got him down to the hotel, and then I took him up to Daniel. Now, when we had him in the hospital, everybody in the world was calling that hospital looking for Daniel Brinkley. And he wasn't on record there because we didn't have him under his name.
Yeah.
I mean, people have no idea. So, and I mean, we tried to protect him and shield him, and it was kind of like Art in the old days. Art couldn't go anywhere without people stopping him and wanting to talk to him, and no peace and no privacy. And those are things that Daniel was dealing with. So Art flew in, and the hospital. We did stuff that the hospital does not allow.
I'm sure.
Attorney. I walked in, and they told me what we couldn't do, and I had an attorney inform them that this was all being documented, and it would be, and they found out just to laugh. Papa Brink owned a grocery store, by the way, and so he had a little change. So I had to take him to the hospital. I go to check him in, and they want to know about his insurance. I mean, somebody done been hit by lightning a couple of times. And chest opened up. What kind of insurance you going to get? You know what I mean, Carl?
Not really. Not none.
You got it, none. So Papa Brink gave me money. I get down there and I got a satchel. We got Daniel in the ER. I got a satchel, and Daniel can't talk. I'm giving them the information, and they want insurance, and I said there is none. And they said, well, how are you going to pay? And I said, well, I got a little over $100,000 right here. Oh, Lord. Next thing I know, security's down there. They got another stretcher in that ER room where Daniel's at, I'm at, with a security guard and a calculator counting money. Then one of the cardiologists came in. He had an attitude, and Daniel's in extreme pain. And I will do whatever necessary to shield him and protect him. You take care of family. So this doctor was being smart-ass with Daniel, and he looked at him, and Daniel waved his hand at me, and he said, he's dismissed. And the doctor said something smart, and I said, let me tell you something. You don't understand. You're fired. Get out of here. They had never, I mean, dealing with us and Art Bell, come on now. So Daniel got up. We got him into the surgery, tubes in his head, and I got Art and Ramona from the hotel, and he'd come out of surgery, and Ramona had some essence oil, essential oils, and she was doing some of them around his nose and all because he still wasn't conscious. And I provided you some photos I think you have with Art at his bedside, and then there's photos of me and Art and all of us outside of the hospital. So when he went on a coast to coast that night, try to help deflect the people from showing up in Charleston. He says, and this is Art Bell from a hotel room here in North Carolina. Thank you for little favors, Art. We already got a circus going on with people showing up at the hospital looking.
It was a zoo, wasn't it?
It was, brother. It was a circus. So you zoo, yeah, that would have qualified for that too. But and then so I stepped in on Coast to Coast a time or two for Daniel, and then we did fundraiser to help Daniel out. Here he is, unable to work. So we ended up doing Coast to Coast one night, raising money for Daniel and selling books. One night, this is history, brother. We sold $92,000 and something in books.
Oh, wow.
I took and went to the printer and had a emblem printed with our heart, and we used a roll over stamp, and it had Daniel's signature on there printed, and we only did an X number of those books. I had in my garage tables lined up, copying machine. This is where everybody was using credit cards and online and no internet, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to the post office, brother. It was your circus, you're right. And stacks of checks coming in, just stacks of them. And my wife and one other lady, they just laying them on the copy machine. Copy. I'm walking in the bank. 50, 75, here's another 100 checks every day. So office supplies rolling down to my garage in their van, offloading cases of book covers. I got books being shipped to me from HarperCollins. Oh my God. Looking back at that now, nobody would ever believe. And I was taking the boxes from that, all the mailers came in, and I think we could put about 16 books with the mailers in each box, and we was lining them up in the back of the pickup. I take it down to the post office and pull into their back door, and they roll out one of them big buggies, and we dump the boxes and go back and do another load. But Art helped with that hospital bill, thankfully, with that. Nobody would believe these things unless they lived them, and that's the friendship that they had. That's the coolest in the world. And then I got involved with some video shooting and doing some work with a lady named Helena Kuczynski, if I'm pronouncing it proper, who was doing a lot of unsolved mysteries. And I ended up getting contracted with her, and I was out 2009, 2010. I was flying back and forth, and 10 days there and 10 days back here in Carolina. And man, we shot some cosmic video, and some things transpired, and so we ended up talking to Art a few times over that as well on Coast to Coast. It's been a journey, brother.
Anything with Art was a journey.
Understatement.
Like I was telling you before when we were speaking on the phone, when we were at that tropical resort getting ready to have the wedding, the double wedding. Mm-hmm. And Art's hollering at me in our cabin. You got a pair of pliers in there? And the cable at this resort was awful, and I went out on the front porch, and Art's out there, got all the cable wires disconnected, trying to get the cable TV to work a little better. So,
I can see you doing that too.
yeah, he's out there scraping it with a pocket knife, trying to get the contacts clean. Yeah.
Mm. Did he get it working?
No, I don't think they had enough cable amplifiers in their system.
I was going to say it's no better than the signal coming in, and if you got crap coming in, that's all you're going to get.
Yeah, you're watching a snowy channel trying to figure out what's on TV. So.
Yeah. Well, you don't always get the best down in the islands. What can I tell you?
Well, yeah, and they're on the ocean with the saltwater air that just
oh yeah, that deteriorates.
compounds atoms. So.
Oh yeah, sure. Breaks down that copper really quick, ionizes it. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, brother.
So your organization is a big help in a lot of different areas, as far as environmental advocacy and the other roles that y'all take part in, and the growth of crops and stuff. You want to give us a rundown of everything y'all do?
All right. First of all, I want to correct one thing. It's not my organization.
Well, I'm sorry.
I am one.
Nations,
I am one. And brother, I know that there's people that are chosen, and I didn't choose this path. I didn't seek this path, and how I got here. My chief here told me my whole life has always been fate. Every time something's happened, it's just, and so there's many leaders within this, but this is about prophecies, and I am of mixed blood, and I have never made a qualm about that. My grandparents was dark skinned, and we know our heritage. Some of the government boys let me know a whole lot more about my heritage than I knew about. You know that story too.
Yes, sir.
So, and very briefly, how I got here. My dad was a hellfire brimstone Southern Baptist evangelist. He had been an army chaplain. My great grandfather on my dad's side, and then my grandfather were German Jew. Grandfather married a full-blooded, red-headed Irish Catholic. And then he converted. And then he wrote tracts for American Bible Society. Uh-huh. Needless to say, you know how my dad came to be.
Yeah.
So while Dad was from Granddad and all them was up in New York, and so Dad grew up in Maryland. That's where my grandmother and them ended up. And Dad, going into the military, was here, there, and yonder. But he was down at right here in Augusta, Georgia. It was then Camp Gordon, before there was a Fort Gordon. And so back then, Army guys, they went around to local churches and did things and volunteered. And Dad came across the river into South Carolina. We were like maybe 20 miles from Fort Gordon, and we live about 8 miles from Augusta, Georgia. So my dad came over, and he was speaking at this church, and my mother just happened to be a guest there. It was where my aunt went, so my mom went with him, and Mama thought he was cute. And this was before the days of McDonald's and Shoney's and anywhere else to go to for lunch on a Sunday, because there wasn't any restaurants open in those days. Yeah. So my aunt invited my dad to come to her house for Sunday dinner, and then because she saw how my mama was, next thing you know, Dad and Mom got together, and my mom is Native American and English. So they traced my heritage back, and growing up, my grandmother then was dark skinned and all, and we went to Cherokee a time or two, but this was not something that Grandma told me this is not something we talked about because in her era, being Native American in the South was worse than being black.
Yeah.
And they did not, actually, the black folks had rights before Native Americans did here in South Carolina. I think final laws that was passed was like not to 1972, giving religious rights and various other things back to Native Americans. So that was from that point. Well, my wife she grew up a mud puppy, and involved in the Native culture, and she was up in the northern part of the state where you have the Catawba and a Cherokee and all of that intermingled there. So after meeting my wife, I learned about powwows and things, and started learning more about my ancestry and my culture. And I went to a Bible college at university, and there was a lot of things that I didn't get answered. So I'm trying to give you a quick how I got on this path. And so there was many things I didn't get answered, and so I wasn't real pleased with those things, and my dad wasn't real pleased with me because my perspective wasn't the way they thought it should be. You know,
Yeah.
you put the blinders on it, son. I told you this is the way you should think, and you got to be this way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's the way it is. Well,
Oh, yeah.
no, Daddy, it didn't make sense to me, and I questioned things. It's just, and if I'm bad for being questionable, then I'll be bad for being questionable. But I like to know what I'm getting into. So anyhow, I started going to powwows and things, and one thing led to another, and then from there, I started going to the tribal events and learning my family, some of them who were involved in tribal, and so from there, ceremonies, and then as I traveled, I was meeting people like Grandfather Wallace Black Elk and Chief Sonny Reyna and various others in the community, and spending time in conversation with them. Knowing what I know now, God, I wished I had paid a lot more attention because I feel so inadequate with so much that I do here. The Native American community here, I'd say 95% of Native Americans do not know their language.
Yeah.
They're not connected like those that are in the Midwest that grew up on reservations. We live in subdivisions and communities, and unless they hear you playing Native music or something, or seeing you in regalia, they don't know you Native American. Your kids are in high school with everybody else with the same music, and then your kids have lost their culture too because they don't know these things. So, making a long story short, as I got involved with things here, the tribal, there was some elections coming up, and I had finally went through all the ceremonies and was finally in and carded at that time. And they was having an election for peace chief. Well, down here, a peace chief it's not like out there on the reservation. What does a peace chief do? Here, he oversees meetings. He might oversee a wedding. He might do something at a passing ceremony, and that's about it. So once I got in and started trying to learn, I started finding about things that how people were treated in the lack of resources for the Native American community. Unless you are tied into a tribe that is receiving money from casinos, many are without, and they don't have resources for medical, they don't have resources for education or any of the other opportunities. And I'm not a big fan of casinos. I know it helps a lot of elderly. I know there's good things that come out of it, but too many people have lost their way. I had a guy reaching out to me a few months ago wanting me to help him get his $150,000 a year from his tribe that he wasn't getting, and because he didn't want to work no more. And this guy's a lot younger than me. I don't receive any kind of check.
Yeah. Yeah.
I travel. My travel gets paid for quite often. Sometimes I pay for travel. So it's not a paid position. But here, there was things that was happening in government oversight, minority affairs. Native American people were being totally overlooked by up against other minorities, and there ended up being some lawsuits. Right here, there was a lawsuit filed by the Asian community, one filed by the Hispanic community, because Minority Affairs has 20 some employees, and one token Asian and one token Hispanic, and oh, guess who else they only got one token of? So,
There's no
and the
telling.
rest of, yeah, one token Indian, and
Yeah.
and the person running the Minority Affairs said, "We don't want any more men anymore. We don't need any more Indians here in South Carolina. We got enough of them."
Ugh. Ugh.
Uh, Brother, you want to talk about discrimination? It's live and well in the Native American community.
I have
And,
no doubt. Yeah.
you know, so we started fighting and we took on causes. And so we made progress and we won. And I just fought to help another tribe get their status. And somebody said, "Oh, he's trying to help get his tribe to make them be somebody." No, it wasn't my tribe. It was another group that has been fighting. And you remember, Carl, the old highways before the interstates, that they had these historical road signs that you're on such and such trail, or this was their historical of things. Well, the upper state Cherokee in South Carolina, there's road signs on a number of highways, on the trails and all. The families has been in existence. Their bloodlines has been in existence. They submitted all their proper paperwork. And for years, they was never allowed to call themselves a Native American, not even a state recognized tribe, even though everything was in proper order,
Yeah.
simply because of control mechanisms. So I went to government oversight and took it on. And this year, thankfully, they have now finally become recognized as a state tribe. And it's a shame that they spent so much money having to get attorneys to fight a friggin' minority control agency uh, for their own rights.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It's sad, really.
so after that happened, Daniel was invited out to speak at Star Knowledge, and I was also. So I spoke there, and Dr. Robert Ghostwolf, he's a very interesting gentleman. I did not know him personally,
Hmm.
but I have talked with a number of the Hopi, and he was not of Hopi bloodline, but he was of mixed blood too. But he was very brilliant. I wish that I had half the intellect of this man. He deciphered Mayan code that has opened the doorways for more understanding on the Maya, that now researchers are using what he deciphered. The research that he did is amazing, and the prophecies and all. Now, the Rainbow Warrior prophecy and all of that. I am a Rainbow Warrior peace chief. I am a local peace chief here in South Carolina, and I've worked on tribal rights. I have done passing ceremonies. I have done Native American weddings. And after speaking at the Star Knowledge, Ghostwolf's widow heard me speak along with another grandmother, and then shared with another grandmother. And after I spoke, next thing I know, and I can tell people this, I had me some 80-some-year-old stalkers. And these grandmothers are persistent, and they're brilliant in their knowledge. Oh my God, I could say I could listen to them for hours. I've listened to them for hours and still do, and talk to a few of them almost daily. So after we developed it, they knew more about me than I
Than
did.
you did.
And
Yeah.
it's amazing what you can find out with Google and all the other things and stuff that I've done in my life. And back in the late 70s with the transducers I built with the death and all. So these grandmothers knew my life story. Well, grandmother Annie Whitehawk, she was an editor with the Associated Press. So, I mean, that tells you the caliber. So they started having conversation with me, and the next thing I found out that I was the chosen one to carry that pipe, that chanupa, and that Ghost Wolf had used this, and it has all the Mayan engravings on it. And this was used at Ghost Dance, where in front of over 100 witnesses, Drumalo and Chief Mad Dog from the Cherokee and a number of others, he opened a portal, and he spoke the Hopi language. He worked with the prophecy keepers. And anybody wants trash, talk trash, let me tell you something. They don't bury a man in a Mayan crypt
No.
unless they really truly believe that you have earned and walked that path, that you are beyond anything else. And everything that I have researched and studied, I don't care what controversies or anything anybody else said, that was a brilliant man that studied on many levels. He wrote Through the Eyes of the Shaman, he wrote Last Cry, Days of Destiny, Winds of Change, and he talked about the Rainbow Warriors. Now, the term Rainbow Warriors really came popular in the early 1960s when this Christian writer came out there, and he wrote a book about, and I think he called it Warriors of the Rainbow. And so they tried to say that this came from Christian teachings, but the truth of the matter is, there was Grandfather Dan, there was Grandfather David, and a few, and Thomas, and Grandfather Martin, and Emery. Emery was the last grandfather that was on Art Bell. They were on Art Bell, and I sent you copies, sent you some photos of the old Art Bell tapes that Art recorded and sent to the Hopis because they don't have electricity on. They had
Yeah.
them those hand tape recorders out there with them big D cell
Oh,
batteries.
yeah. They only last about 30 minutes.
You got it, brother. And that's how all the Hopi folks got to hear the coast to coast stuff. And so they sent me all of this stuff. I have Ghost Wolf's passport, his flute. His wife sent me one love letter that I will never share with anyone, but she wanted me to know the energy that was shared between him and her,
Yeah.
because they all believe that Ghost Wolf speaks through me. And my wife will tell you the things that I write. She knows that she sees me do it, but she knows they're not my words. I got Ghost Wolf's dinosaur that's sat on his desk, sitting right over here beside me now on the speaker. So that energy, all the feathers and all that he carried, I now have those things, and um, every sacred item that one could think of that's needed for any type of ceremony, I have been blessed with to be the caretaker of it this time. So, and I found out that there had been a number of people that had shown up out at the reservation claiming to be the one that Ghost Wolf had written about in his prophet in the prophecies that came from the prophecy keepers. And one showed up. His wife was a quote psychic, and she says, "I had visions and my husband," and then some other guy showed up from Canada, and the prophecies pointed to the east. So next thing you know, the grandmother said, "These words are his words, and everything that you've done is him." So he passed during the winter solstice. So on the 21st, there will be a drumming worldwide. There's a global drumming, and it's going to be happening at 11:11. And there will be fire ceremonies by First Nation groups. There will be water ceremonies, and you'll be able to find much of this on the internet associated with different groups. I will have my sacred tobacco out. I will have my drum, um, and the pipe that I have carried for years will be the pipe. The pipe from Ghost Wolf is only used in ceremony, and and not just every ceremony, but special ceremony. It was used at Tanasi, which I'll hit very quickly. So after I received the Chanupa, word got out. The grandmothers told me I had to write my story, so that's how the book came about. I didn't title the book. I didn't edit the book. The artwork was designed and licensed and gifted to represent me. The grandmothers edited the book. The
Ah.
grandmothers titled the book. So Ghost Wolf's widow did the closing prayer in the book. Oh, and to make a little more humor, at the very beginning of the book, I wanted to quote a passage from Wolf. So I called Shoshana and I said, Shoshana, I'd like to use a quote in the book from Wolf. Who do I need to get permission from to be able to quote Wolf? There was silence. She said, look in the mirror and ask yourself. You gotta love him, Carl.
Oh,
You
yeah.
gotta love him. So after all of this happened, next thing I know, I'm receiving a phone call from Sasha Stone. And from there, I was invited to come to Tanasi, which I had no idea what it was about, but it was the emergence of the Rainbow Warriors, and this was with the World Hereditary Council. And there it was linked all over the world, being broadcast. The Big Kahuna from Hawaii, and Chief Phil Lane, the Dakota Chickasaw, and Grandmother Nezra from up in Canada, and Chief Sabrina Whitehorse, and Hopi Messenger Bertram, and Scotty the Patriot Street Fighter, he's Cherokee, and General Baker, he's Algonquin, and it goes on and on. And there was uh, kings and ambassadors and everyone else speaking. And I was so humbled. Here I am doing sage ceremony, and then for the fifth fire, I'm doing things I've never done before. And all of this, it intimidated and it scared me that I'm going to screw up. And the grandmother said, you walk in spirit. You do what you're supposed to do, and Creator will tell you what you do. You just listen. So it's intimidating, but you have to walk in something called faith. So the subtitle of my book is a story of faith, not of hope. So I trust that they knew what they were doing. As I walked around for weeks saying, this can't be me, this can't be my life. And my chief down here says, son, it's fate. Your whole life is fate. And actually, that was one of the first words in my book that I used. So uh, I did the ceremony there. The altar is a woven rug that came from the Hopi. The bundle is white buffalo, chanupa, and bear, and all the other sacred animals are part of that. And it was placed on the altar. Crazy Horse's bundle was flown in, and it was placed on the altar. And the World Hereditary Peace Pipe was placed on that altar. And I was blessed and asked to do the closing statements and close the ceremony. And that started a whole new journey for me,
I bet
Carl.
it did.
And so from there, yeah, I was in Over My Head and Rainbow Warrior. Now that we got to I'm Over My Head and Rainbow Warrior, was seeking more, because this is the path and this is what Ghost Wolf had wrote about in his book. And actually, he wrote about it in several of the books. And so from there, I started studying more and learning about the prophecies. And so, and it's very short, and I want to share this. When the earth is dying, there shall arise a new tribe of all colors and all creeds, and this tribe shall be called the Warriors of the Rainbow, and it will put its faith in actions and not words. And that's the Hopi prophecy. And the Sioux they had very similar. They said there will come a time when the earth is sick and the animals and the plants begin to die. And the Indians will regain their spirit and gather people of all nations, colors, and beliefs to join together in the fight to save the earth. The Rainbow Warriors, and that's from the Sioux. And the Cree had the prophecy. And the Powhatan, Powilmac, of the Rainbow Children. And then when you start looking at this, Carl, it gets a whole lot deeper. If you drove a spear through the center of the earth from Hopi land, from Hotivilla, and you drove it straight through the earth, it would come out right in the middle of Tibet. And they also have prophecies that align with the Red Road Native American prophecies. And something that's quite interesting, even though I don't speak the language, I was looking for similarities and these coincidences that they say exist, but I haven't seen one yet, because every time I keep seeing them line up, it becomes synchronicities, burning bushes that let me know we're on the right path. So the Hopi word for sun is the Tibetan word for moon. And the Tibetan word for sun is just the opposite with the Hopi. That same exact word. So when you start looking at the synchronicities of First Nations and what is happening, and this is past the blue Kachina and the red Kachinas, and they're associating Atlas 3I also with the Kachinas, and there's energies and all of those things, and that's another whole program to talk about those things. But this is the time and the change that Ghostwolf wrote about and that they had talked about in prophecy. And he saw that pipe becoming the Rainbow Warrior. And I just was seeing in New Zealand a post about me over there, and it said leader of the Rainbow Warriors, and it talks about the pipe, the chanupa. And it's humbling. I'm not the leader. I am one of many. And together we all grow stronger. So the earth is poisoned. Big Pharma has got people addicted. The experiment of 2020 has proven that that 2/3 of the earth is sheep, and therefore Bill Gates and all those other evil ones are going to take their enjoyment in knowing that they reduced the earth population because people just followed and did what they were told to do. And because of these things, it's affected everything else that's living on this earth. So it is up to us to become stewards. So there's a few things I want to clarify. We're not an environmental religion. We are not a religion. We are a group of warriors, of First Nations that are coming together to work together on the commonalities that we all share. Those things that make our world better. It's like the Hopi Rock. It talks of the two paths, and right now we're on the colonial path of destruction. Our rivers are poisoned, our oceans are poisoned, animals are dying, and and I'm in Native American groups that I keep up with, and glad to see that there is some things coming back, and people do not understand the synchronicities of how things are woven together. For example, the wolf packs are starting to come back, and where the wolf packs are coming back, there are trees that was almost gone from the forest that are now coming back because of seeding and things and how it moves around and how it cycles. Yeah. So it's important that we pay attention to these things. And for example, in Africa, the World Hereditary Council is working with a number of nations there. And the great experiment over there, helping all those poor people in Africa with all the disease. And so therefore they're going to give them all of those injections. Well, it made a lot of the women sterile. They started depopulating tribes.
Yeah.
And then all the GMO foods and everything else they were doing over there, that was enhancing the cancers and all of those things. And that great experiment that everybody took If you go and do your research, you'll find that cancer rate is up 40-some% among females under the age of 45. That's on reservations. So there is a little bit of tracking. Death rate is up. So over there, those same things are happening. So what's happened? The World Hereditary Council has stepped in, and they started doing things to clean up and make the environment better. Started planting hemp, started planting cane, and fibers from each of those grow faster. 1 acre of hemp in a season will produce more material than 4 point something acres of trees. So it make more sense to let the trees grow, right?
Hmm.
Because as we take in oxygen, where does all that come from? That stuff comes from the trees. The trees breathe what we exhale. It's a cycle, it's a balance. And being able to bring all this stuff into balance, and we know all the climate change stuff that's going on, 2/3 of it is BS lies. If it was the truth, Mr. Gore wouldn't have a great big jet that he's got down there in Florida. Wouldn't be living in a 11,000 something square foot house. His wife left him, said he was phony. He made hundreds of millions of dollars off of telling people of climate change, and every time they said something's going to happen, it wouldn't happen. Everybody forgets that there's natural cycles. We went through an ice age. This earth has been through multi changes. It's part of the earth's cycles. It's part of what goes on with the universe and the sun and all of that. If people started paying attention to these things and quit trying to cloud seed and change the climate from the natural order of which things is supposed to happen. And what's cloud seeding doing? It's adding more chemicals, barium, selenium, all your aluminums, and all that's dropping into the soil. So how have you got organic foods when all that stuff is hitting your soil?
Yeah.
So then comes, how do we clean it up? Soil remediation. In doing so, we use the right products that will, crops that will eat and devour these things and remove them from the earth. And hemp will do that. Hempcrete is stronger than regular concrete. If you don't believe that, go to Rome.
Oh, I
Look
have
at
no
those
doubt.
streets and all that stuff that's built over there. What was it built with? And it's still standing. You know, it don't break down like the concrete. It acts as an insulant. And also, let's see, there's a company in North Carolina that makes fabric. And a study shows in the VA system that bed linens that are made of, I think it's 73% hemp and the other 20-some percent polyester, harbors less bacteria than cotton. Oh, cotton. Let's see, 1/3 of pesticides is sold for spraying cotton. And think about that. What does that do to the field, do to everything around the field and all the living creatures around it and the bees and everything else? We're destroying the balance. So in Africa, they started using and building, and the buildings that are doing are much more insulated. It protects them from the desert, the sun, and the climate. It also, the way some of the buildings are being designed, they collect dew from the night. So they're getting water that comes back that they're able to put and use for their gardens and to help them. So then you have crops like the Three Sisters. That's your squash and your corn and your beans. Well, when they're woven together and they planted together, it helps run little creepy crawlers out of the garden.
Yeah.
And one helps spread the soil and oxygenate and redoes the nutrients. Then you learn about how you take and grow and rotate, bringing in your livestock and your animals. You run your chickens through. You move everything in cycles. I got a doctor friend that's got 110 acres, and she's got turkeys, free-range chickens, and other things. And she's got cages, coops that are on wheels that she moves them across the land. And as you bring one creature through, you bring the other that brings the balance, your manure from your cows and your other things. The next thing you know, you got super enriched soils. There is natural systems, and if we go back to the ways of the ancestors and use those things, but we got modern technology, Carl. So we got things to help test and see and know what we're doing. So rainbow warriors are people that come together, that are holding together to work together for the common good of all living on Mother Earth. That is the trees, the animals, the oceans, all the creepy crawlers, everything that's living on this earth was put here for a reason. And it's all about bringing this back into balance. And again, we're not preaching a religion. We're not preaching a creed. We're preaching a working together and making each other stronger and supporting one another with our own industries. You know, maybe Big Pharma and all these other guys should back down, shut up, pay some other people attention, and get into what we're preaching. Then they'd still be making money instead of trying to get greed and keep you on your pills.
Yeah.
They know cures for cancer, but they don't want to do it because all of a sudden they lose patients for this or that or the other. So,
You know, here in the part of Arkansas I live in, they have a lot of chicken houses.
right,
And they raise the meat chickens, and of course they have the egg layers. But have you ever been in one of those commercialized?
I have.
The amount of steroids they pump into those birds, in just a few weeks, they're
I know.
from chicks to
Blow them up. I mean, it's like, yeah, steroids big time. I mean, it's
well,
like adding some kind of gas or air to it, just blows their skin up.
yeah, and the steroids hype them up to the point. I had a friend here in Mountain View, Arkansas, that raised them, and it was close to the Air Force Base here. And the chickens are so hyped up on those steroids and stuff that when like a C-130 flies over, it scares half the flock to death because they're so stressed on those steroids.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's awful. And of course, I'm sure you've smelt them. I don't even know that I would use manure from a chicken house in a garden anymore because so much
See,
crap's
that's the
in it.
problem. That's the problem. It's the type of feed that they're being fed and those steroids. And so that's why you want to get back to the natural, free range, and those type that are pushing. And right now, beef is a really big thing that's going here right now. And what's being planted, the types of grass that is being planted, so that it does not have the things that the additives that what's the term that they use? It it doesn't give them that steroid or that the other enzymes. And that's not the word.
The hormones and stuff.
It's the hormones. Thank you. It does. They're not getting those hormones from that, and so stay in, and it becomes a more organic. And it's like the gardens. It's cleaning up the organics so that we get back to true organics. Cleaning our streams, cleaning our water, and all of these are coming together. So our philosophy is to make our earth healthier, and making our earth healthier, we will make our children, we will make our plants, we will make everything else living here on Mother Earth more healthy. And that's one of our goals, working together, the commonalities, working together in peace, and being able to share, helping each other. I am not a socialist. I'll say that right up front. I've heard people start slamming those things. I support anybody that can do better.
Yeah.
And when you do better, then you have greater responsibilities. As you give, so shall you. As you give, so shall you. I'm trying to say that right. As you give, so shall it be given. As you take, it is taken from you. So that's a balance that comes back in, and it comes back to stewardship and helping those around you, being the difference that the Creator makes. Taking hemp and stuff and being able to create plastics that break down in 50-something to 60-some days versus the plastics that are in the ocean that's poisoning our fish and all of those. We could be smarter. Those corporations could be making plastics from hemp, but they chose not to. The original Levi Strauss blue jeans. What were they made from? Hemp. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So paying these attention to these things and cleaning up the earth, then coming back with these plants, then we will start to make healthier. The children nowadays, the ratio of illness compared to the ratio of those that was raised in the 50s, 60s of attention deficit and everything else. They've got our kids on so many medications right now, and the problem is all the steroids and everything that's put in the meats that you eat at all your fast food restaurants. We need to get back to natural cooking. I love to cook. My garden right now, and I experiment all the time. My brother and we got cardboard laying down across our soil. My brother goes out there and wets it down. We got straw over it, looking at the worms that are in the soil, checking all that stuff's important. And when you do it consciously and systematically, then we improve it. And let me tell you some other stuff that's really cool, and I wrote about in my book. Prayer. Prayer changes things. The VA did a study, and they found that people were prayed over, healed quicker, used less medications, was more cost effective. And you ready for this? It didn't matter what religion they were. Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, those that was prayed over healed quicker. So there was a study done where a group of farmers got together and they prayed over their crops. The fields that was prayed over wasn't fertilizers and all the other stuff added, but the fields that was prayed over was more abundant than the fields that were not. And they yielded more income for the farmers. And it made them more successful. So if we can do this in Africa and the other nations, then we should be bringing this home to America and helping all of our state tribes and all of them to be able to walk with dignity and knowing that they made it on their own in the way that the ancestors had planned us to live. Technology is wonderful, but technology has taken so much away from us. We've lost so much. It's like kids can't read a circular clock with hands on it. They've lost so much. And it's time. If something, let's say something seriously happens, and the network goes down, and I mean goes down. How the hell are these people going to survive? Because they don't know what in the heck they doing unless they're on their little cell phone and their computer looking something up to tell them how to get it done.
Yeah. Well, they don't have
They
any interaction with other children anymore either.
and that's sad.
It is the
Woo,
one.
brother, that's a lot of stuff that we throwed out real quick.
Oh yeah. Are you good for
Question.
a little while longer, or
Sure.
because I know
Sure.
you had a busy day, and I know you got a busy day tomorrow also. So
Yeah, we got our Christmas tribal gathering. So we will be we'll have the tribal drum out in the middle of the gym, and it's an open drum so that any of the guys that want to sit in, they can drum. And we'll be doing some tribal Christmas music, and Santa Claus will be passing out little stockings for the kids, and our vendors will be there with all their stuff that they have where people can get their Christmas presents. And then we all have a covered dish that everybody brings, so it's a great fellowship of everybody getting together, hanging out, do a little sage and a little prayer, and just some sharing.
oh yeah,
So good is good to be able to do that this time of the season. And I'm looking at elders that we've lost, and I talked about this the other day. Everybody here listening to this tonight, they know someone that has an empty chair at their table this season, and they going through heartache. They're going through hate. Through. Not, I didn't mean hate. They're going through pains that's excruciating, and they need this word of kindness that will make a difference. And we are that one. A rainbow warrior is that one that will step up. A rainbow warrior is that one that's going to reach out and going to care and not expect something back, because they know as they give, it's going to be given back to them on all different levels. Everything we do, every word we utter, how we breathe, all is affected by frequency and energy. And people start talking about the shaman and shamanic arts. When you start understanding some of the principles of why certain things are done, then all of a sudden you find out, oh, there's a real logical reason for this. It's like the different wrestlers and the fighters and all the different societies. You got your guys with their swords and all, and they breathe deep from their gut when they struck. And the Apaches, when they was running across the desert, they used the short panted breath that kept their bodies cooler, and it let them run further. So being able to use your breath, to be able to focus, and to be able to say your prayers, and that's important. You know, I grew up in the church where we had prayer meeting every Wednesday night, Carl, and I'd hear, "Dear Lord Jesus, please help Miss Sister Mary uh, Williams this week. She's still down with the gout and she can't walk and can't do this." And then next Wednesday night, "Dear Lord, Sister Mary Williams, she's still down and still can't do it. So y'all keep praying for her." And then next week, "And Sister Mary Williams and her husband's down this week too." So, uh, you, and people forget on focus and purpose. Hoping, there's a difference between hoping and faith. There's a big difference. I hope that I don't, when I walk across that yard in the dark, that I don't bust my ass.
Yeah, me too.
I have faith that everything is smooth. There's no hose pipes, there's no hose and nothing laying out there in the middle for me to trip over, that I'm going to be able to walk through there and get to where I want to around the yard in the night, and even if the stars isn't out. There's a difference. And the same with prayer. When you take and you use that sacred breath with that focus and that conscious intent, that is life changing on many levels, and it affects everything around you, your garden and all. And everybody used to make fun of the hippies and the tree huggers back in those days. And by the way, we are not a new age. Rainbow Warriors is not a new age movement. We are prophecy, and this is all about fulfilling that and working together. But back to the tree huggers. What they didn't know at that time, because they didn't have the electronics to be able to test. But Carl, you've seen the little electrodes that they can hook up to plants now.
Oh, yeah.
And they give off frequencies. But they give off what? More than just frequency, they have rhythm. And when they do it to trees, they found out that trees communicate through their roots. It's like antenna. And they communicate from one to another. And when one tree's dying, it sends its resources to the others around it. There is a cycle. And when you start looking at all the magical things that go on in the world, who the hell wants to watch the nightly news when you can be figuring out all of this stuff and saying, wow?
Ain't that the
You
darn
know?
truth?
Do you want to be depressed, or you want to grow and get out there and be the difference?
Yeah.
And Rainbow Warriors is growing and being the difference, working with family, respecting our ancients, our ancestors, and knowing that we are the change for any generations to come. We always talk of the 7 generations. There won't be 7 generations to come with the path that we're on. We are that line worldwide, and there is a conscious awakening worldwide. Carl, would you believe there is over, they discovered that there is over 10,000 First Nations worldwide?
I didn't know there were that many. I didn't.
I was amazed. I found this out through the World Hereditary Council. I was amazed. And then when I started finding that this little group here and this group over here and this group over here, all of them are reaching and all of them are wanting to share. And then I received a phone call that Queen Biambi in the Congo wanted to speak to me. And I'm like, who the heck am I that they would want to speak to me? But then when we get together and we start talking about the things that are needed and how we work together, then, then you find out that we're really family. And when we all focus together, we all grow together and we help each other. So I believe in free enterprise, and I want to see groups do good, and I want to see people become successful.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have motivation to be better, then you become stagnant. You become stale. You stay in that rut. And, I haven't jumped off any cliffs or, any of those wild things that some people do. But, man, I just could not think of just sitting in a chair and watching TV every night and then go to bed and get up next day and go to work and then go sit in TV in front of the other. Jesus, how can somebody... That's boring,
Yeah. Pardon my huskies making racket in the background.
I got kitty cats around me, so and they were all feral cats, which is wild. And the birds I got here, they're all rescues too, and it's amazing that I can have parrots and what was feral cats running around together. And I got one of the birds, a cockatoo. She has her own pet cat, and they play together. And I mean, in the cage, up and down the hall, they run around and they play together. It's amazing when you start watching these little things in the animal kingdom, how they accept and work and adapt with one another.
Oh yeah. I need to take a break and play my ads tonight and my dark matter news, if you don't mind.
Go, brother.
And you can get a drink of water or something, or run.
I got a cup of coffee sitting right here.
All right, and we'll be back right after that.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can see every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit reign. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling.
This is Dark Matter News. I'm Joshua Stark. A new study on the tiny planarian flatworm is challenging one of the biggest assumptions in stem cell biology. For decades, scientists believed that stem cells always depend on a local niche, a tightly controlled neighborhood of nearby cells that regulate how they divide and what they become. But researchers studying planarians have found that this rule doesn't apply to these remarkably regenerative animals. Using advanced mapping of gene activity across the worm's body, scientists identified a surprising pattern. The stem cells responsible for the worm's activity to regrow entire body parts are not controlled by the cells right next to them. Instead, they're responding to signals that travel from distant tissues, especially from the worm's intestinal system. The team even discovered a new cell type called a hecatodonoblast, which sits close to the stem cells but doesn't seem to instruct their behavior at all. Its presence initially suggested that it might be part of the traditional niche, but further analysis showed that the real guidance system is happening across long distances inside the animal. This overturns the long-held belief that stem cell regulation has to be local. In planarians, the system is much more dynamic and flexible, allowing regeneration to be coordinated across the entire body. That flexibility may help explain why a tiny fragment of a planarian can rebuild an entire organism. Catch up with us at darkmatternews.com.
Hi, this is Jessica with C. Crane. Tired of spotty radio reception and static? C. Crane CC Wi-Fi 3 Internet Radio offers a crystal clear solution with audio guaranteed to outperform any smartphone speaker. With an internet connection, tune in to over 30,000 radio stations from around the world, all conveniently accessible without needing any apps, providing personal information, or additional monthly subscriptions. Enjoy complete privacy with no microphone or eavesdropping. The CC Wi-Fi 3 boasts a user-friendly interface with a full-sized remote for easy control. It also doubles as a Bluetooth speaker for your favorite music and podcasts. Ready to upgrade your listening experience? You can get the CC Wi-Fi 3 by calling C. Crane at 800-522-8863 or by visiting us online at ccrane.com. Once again, that's ccrane.com.
Where can the skills you learn with ham radio take you? Amateur radio, often called ham radio, is the place where today's engineers got their start. Ham radio is more popular than ever before. With hands-on training in electronics, engineering, and digital communications, modern hams interface computers and radios in entirely new ways. Ham radio in the 21st century can take you around the world or into a whole new career. Learn more. Go to arrl.org. Join us. Called ham radio.
Welcome back to Midnight Frequency Radio with our guest, Chief Mel Standing Eagle. We've covered quite a deep topic tonight.
Where are we going to next, brother?
Well, if anyone wanted to become involved with the projects and everything that the Rainbow Warriors are involved with, how would they go about doing so?
There's a number of groups on Facebook, and there's Rainbow Warrior groups in about every platform. My page is Chief Mel Standing Eagle PC. That's separate from my personal profile. The grandmother said I had to have a page to identify where we're at, so their wisdom is starting to make sense. Lightstreamers.com, lightstreamers.com. There you will be able to find me and Daniel Brinkley. Under the blogs, you will see what we're about, the legends, the origins, and where all of these came from, and what we stand for, and our emphasis and where we're going in the future. So we're working here on tribal reunification, and we just did ceremony with a number of tribes back in October here. And so we're starting to work together on ideas, crops, products that we can market and benefit the tribes. And everything that I'm doing now, our focus is trying to help support First People and make First People more independent. Now, who's a Rainbow Warrior? That's a good question. That can be anybody breathing and living here on Mother Earth. We're all indigenous, Carl. Think about that.
Oh, yeah.
And pretty much everybody's mixed blood. And, there's some out there that really get off on things and think because they got a certain card that they're entitled and all. And I walk the way of my ancestors. Well, your mind's not that of your ancestors. Your thought is not that of the spiritual and the ancestors. It's like people that go to church. And listen, I'm not making fun of anybody. Please understand that. And faith is very important. And being able to walk your faith and walk your path and walk it with integrity Rainbow Warrior, walking your path with integrity, doing what you say that you're going to do, getting it done, being that difference. Like I said, that person that's this season that's going to be sitting there with someone missing at a chair, being able to call them up, let them know they're not forgotten, drop something off to them, invite them to your house. All of these things are part of being the difference. So we're starting to organize worldwide, globally. There's groups coming together. We just had the Tanasi event a few months ago that I was honored to be at, and that involved people from about 60 countries. It's way beyond my scope of understanding right now because there's so many people involved in different levels that are supporting these programs, and more are coming on board. And I'm talking to one of the top scientists that's chaired a group of, I think, 200 or 300 scientists at major universities with focus on agriculture, with focus on healing the earth, with focus on being able to use sound frequencies and enzymes to help clean up and remove toxins from the earth. So these are the people that we're trying to draw together, to bring together, to use the resources that we have available to us in this time, and to incorporate the things that worked for our ancestors. And in doing so, we feel that we can make a big difference in healing Mother Earth. And so Facebook, there's all kind of groups. You can just look for Rainbow Warrior groups. And some of them, I post a lot of memes, but then I have little thoughts and things that I put in there. I've got passing thoughts that have motivational, spiritual meanings to it. Then I've got a number of posts called Last Cry, and those are they're longer, but they have principles and teachings and things that came from Ghost Wolf and from the Hopi elders, the prophecy keepers. So being able to focus on being a change, making a difference, and just looking, they're out there. Like I said, do a search for Rainbow Warriors and what they stand for. And there's a lot of groups in areas that's coming together, gardening clubs and all of those things that are groups like that, not those things, but groups like that that are now organizing and coming together. And so look for your local community. I'm a member, believe it or not, I'm a member of a couple of garden groups locally. And I'm not a member of the flower club, even though hey, my dad had roses, and I still got some clippings of my dad's roses, and my dad's been gone for 11 years. And one of the plants that I'm most proud of, I have a flower out here in my backyard, and that flower I know is at least 85 to 90 years old. And it was in my great grandmother's yard, and moved to my grandmother's yard, and then moved to my mother's yard. And it's still, and I've done several cuttings from it. And I've got people in the garden club saying, "Can we get a cutting from that?" So it's all the little things that we do that make us different. It's a Rainbow Warrior has many different titles and many different qualifications. We're not all made equally when it comes to what we do and our knowledge and work, and there's some people that can be at the bedside of those that's dying and handle it. There's others, their constitution does not allow them to do that. But they might be a bookkeeper that can work with a volunteer organization and help. Volunteerism is very, very, very key to this. Volunteering your time, that's one of the most precious things that we got that can make a difference. Taking that 1 day a month or 2 days a month if you got it. And if you really got time on your hands and you're retired, go do something 2 or 3 days a week to make a difference. And just keep looking to grow. It's like that garden out there, my brother and I, trying different things, putting cardboard down in certain areas and checking the soil and seeing how that's doing. And then what does it yield us crop wise? All of these things, paying attention to these things are very important. And like I said, all of this ties together in the program. Little things make a difference, and we're not all the same. So whatever you can do to make it positive change, that's what it's about, being part of the change. That's a little rambling, but I don't have a definitive definition of exactly what a rainbow warrior is. It's many people from many different walks of life, all bringing their little, not little, that's not the correct word, bringing what they have, whether it be great or small, to the table to help make a difference for all, the common good of all.
Would you like to touch on the Twilight Brigade?
The Twilight Brigade. The Twilight Brigade, I was a charter member of. Daniel Brinkley was the co-founder of the Twilight Brigade. And we started a volunteer hospice organization within the VA system. Our little hospice organization grew to over 6,600 volunteers in VAs around the country. The Hines VA in Chicago, Atlanta VA, I can just keep going. The first VA in America was in Dayton, Ohio. And I had the honor of doing a training program at that particular VA. And actually, it's got probably one of the nicest hospice wings of any hospital in America, in Dayton. They've got kitchen and everything right there in the VA with aquariums and all of that for the family to hang out, to be with their loved ones in their last moments. But here again, what I was talking about, volunteerism. Everybody can't be at the bedside. Everybody has different constitution. And, it might be hauling water. It may be carrying trash out for somebody, or running to a grocery store and doing everything in within the Twilight Brigade. Everybody had different purposes and different jobs, but we all worked together, and within what we had within the realm of what we personally could do is how we incorporated everybody around. The program that Daniel started, Daniel has co-written the protocol that's now used with end-of-life care with the VA system. And with that being said, our people have now integrated into the VA volunteer services. So if someone would like to volunteer, you can go to your local VA and reach through volunteer services is typically through the chaplain now, through the chaplain service. And there you can learn about programs with the VA and joining and becoming a volunteer. And like I said, it may be just carrying water to the rooms for people and going and talking to them. And let me tell you something, to be at a bedside, I've been at nowhere like Daniel Brinkley. God, he's the king of this sounds bad. He's the king of death. But he has been there bringing comfort. He has brought comfort to thousands of volunteers. I have sat at the bedside on their last night, and I remember I was at Long Beach VA, and the man wanted me to have a drink with him. Well, the VA he was at, he had a little refrigerator right there beside his bed, and he had his little martini mixes. They let him have it, So I listened to him, and it was so good to hear him tell about things that was significant in his life that he just wanted to share. And it brought him comfort in them last hours that he had. So Twilight Brigade mission is that no one should have to die alone. So Daniel is still at it. He was just in D.C. working with Kennedy and talking with them. He's very active with the VA system and trying to bring change, help with other modalities of healing that has not been allowed in the past, to have home care. And you know what they found out about home care, Carl? It saves a ton of money.
It does indeed.
And just think about this. You got somebody at home, your dad. Dad needs care. And you like, oh God, I can't afford to put daddy in a nursing home, and then it's gonna cost this. Well, let me tell you, they found out that it cost, I think, close to $120,000 a year to put a vet in a facility. $120,000 a year. You know, it's a lot cheaper to pay a family member or someone to come in $40,000 a year. That's pretty decent money for somebody to be at the bedside and cook and make sure the meals is done and cleaned up and get them to the doctor and all.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, my wife and I took care of my mother for 4 years after her back injury, and I can't imagine what it would have cost to, put her in a nursing facility or something. Plus, at this day and age, I don't trust nursing facilities. So.
Isn't that the truth? Bed sores and all the other horror stories of what happens, and they come in gripey, or there's horror stories in nursing homes every day. But for what it costs for one bed in a nursing facility, they can now take care of 2 veterans with in-home care for less money. Being smart with what we do and our resources and how we use our resources. Just another sign of a rainbow warrior.
Oh, yes.
We're all, if we pay attention to what we're doing and we all stay focused, and the spiritual value that we put on what we do, that's all part of it. It's all part of the healing and part of the growing.
Well, do you have any new books you're in the works with, or?
Actually, there's 2. Money. It costs money to publish books. People have no idea. My book is selling in 3 countries, and I'm still $3,000 in the hole. Well, a big publisher got my book. Who would thought?
Yeah.
I have in the works right now, and I just need the funds to get it to market. And the edits are done, and it's called Great Spirit Cuisine, and it is 101 Native American dishes that has come from tribes across the U.S. and Canada. Anything and everything you can think of, from Indian tacos, even porcupine. And it tells you how to clean the porcupine and break it down without getting all stabbed and jabbed and stuff. But let me tell you something this evening.
You got anything for the possums on a half shell? Because we got a lot of armadillos around here.
Brother, you just wouldn't believe the recipes in here. But it also has the spiritual totem, the spiritual value of the recipe of the animal that's in that recipe, of that fish or whatever. It gives you the spiritual value, so that when you're with your children and all, and you're talking about something and you're fixing something and you're looking at it, then it gives them something beyond, oh, that's possum stew,
Yeah.
a rattlesnake, there's every kind of recipe that you want is in there. Then the next thing that's after that, and the grandmothers has got me doing some notes now on things that's happened and transpired since. But following is another book that's in the works, and it is being edited by the grandmothers. I didn't write the book. I am making a few changes in the book. And it's called Echoes from the Future. It was the very last thing that Ghost Wolf was working on. And he had just finished typing when he got hit by lightning, and it came in on his computer. So it deals with some end time prophecies, and Grandmother Shoshana is working on it, and Granny Whitehawk, but I don't know how long that book is not an easy read, to be honest, and so I'm going through a little by little and on that, and that's in the works in the future, but that's called Echoes from the Future. And the artwork that's going on the front cover is an image that was hanging in the Wolf Lodge out there. And so they took the image out of the frame, they sent it out here to me, had a couple of scratches. I took it to graphics people, they cleaned it up, made it nice and beautiful, and the grandmothers are all happy, and so they know what's going to be on the book. Oh, and they subtitling it It's got grandmothers with their hoops, and the subtitle of it is "Can You Hear Us Now?" We got your attention yet, boy?
Yeah.
So those are in those are two. The recipe book is ready. It's just a matter of funding to make it happen. And I'm planning to only take 10% on that book if it does. And the rest of it's going back into a couple of tribal programs that I'm supporting with senior citizens and with youth. As I mentioned at the beginning, the young people have lost their path. They've lost their way, that are not raised in the reservations and in those schools where everyone's together. But here in the public schools, our kids have lost their way. So we're trying to create programs that we're bringing tribal kids together, like a summer camp, that we can bring them together and teach them about food, teach them about everything from hunting, fishing, drumming, and storytelling, so that they learn values and principles that will help them grow in their life. So too many people have lost their way. Too many computers and games have occupied our youth, and they have lost communication skills with other people. They've lost their social abilities. And these are things that need to be cultivated to bring us back. And it's like I said a while ago, is if the network goes down, and there's a good possibility with all the solar and everything else that's coming, that, I mean, unless you got your system in a Faraday cage and it hits us, we're going to lose everything.
That's
So,
definitely true. Matter of fact, I have an old analog ham radio I keep in a metal trash can with the lid taped on with aluminum tape, just in case. So,
mhm. And you got it grounded, I hope.
oh yes, yes,
Okay. So I got drives, and I got an OXP laptop. So, but it sounds crazy, but that you could think that these things happen. But if you remember a few years ago, everybody in America was screaming, "We don't have toilet paper. What are we
yeah,
gonna do?" You remember
yeah.
that?
Oh yes, definitely so. You,
Grocery
you,
stores,
you,
nobody. Walmart, no toilet paper. Oh my God! Everybody was in panic mode. And then when they went and people were getting arrested because they were buying and then taking it to the flea market and selling it for 2 or 3 times what it should have been selling for. You know,
just
I support
insane.
free enterprise, but ripping people off, excuse me, that's a karmic debt that you're going to deal with. And
Oh,
anybody that's Christian don't believe in karma, then obviously they haven't been reading the scriptures, because the scripture says, what, as you we and so as you oh God, it's one of those nights. As you sow, so shall you reap.
uh-huh.
You put out good, you gonna get good. You rip people, you gonna get ripped.
Yeah,
Your time is coming. So yeah, if that's not a definition for karma, I don't know what is.
well, you are absolutely welcome back on the show anytime if you have anything you'd like to bring before the listening audience.
Brother, I'm very tired, and I know I rambled a little bit tonight. I got, I think, about 3.5 hours sleep, and my messages are coming from all over the globe. And I will be in Florida in May, speaking at a conference, and then at a men's group, and then June, the last of June, there will be a Rainbow Warrior event in Illinois. I don't have the details. I'm told I'll know more about it at the end of the year. But there are people coming from nations around the world to be part of this event. There will be a public ceremony there for, I think, the 26th, 27th, and 28th. Before that will be Rainbow Warrior groups, tribal chiefs that are involved with the program. So we have a number of First Nations that are stepping forward, and they want to be part of this system and part of this growth mechanism. And together, if we all do come together as one, then we can make a difference, and we can change the world. And history has proven it only takes 2 to 3% of the people to bring change. That's all.
Mhm.
2 to 3%. I mean, look at what 2% of the people that talk on TV do.
Oh, yeah.
They control 90% of what people think and do, and people go crazy over it.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch it.
Same here, brother. I check the weather report. Anything beyond that is got an agenda, and if you're watching that, then you better see what the BBC's putting out. You better be looking and seeing what the Russians is putting out, because if you're not looking at 3 or 4 different nations with different ideologies, then you're missing what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
sir,
brother.
I hope at some point my audience grows enough that we can have Mr. Brinkley on at some point. But
all in time, brother. One of these days. These days. Daniel's got. He was, matter of fact, he should be back in town. I was doing the Christmas event earlier today, and or this evening, and over in Georgia, and rushed to get back here to connect with you. And tomorrow, like I said, I'll be doing tribal gathering. So I literally go 7 days a week. I'm in Zoom meetings probably 5 days a week or more, and some days 2 or 3 Zoom meetings. I never in my life anticipated or thought this would be my world. But grandmother said, you're chosen, you chose, and you don't get to quit.
Well, there you go.
Take a deep breath, you focus, and you say your prayers. Let me be better this day than I was yesterday. So,
amen to that. Well, sir, it has been an honor having you on, and I'm sure at this point you'd like to get some rest before you have to go back to Zoom in the morning. So.
I do, brother, and I do, and I've got a Sunday morning meditation group that we're with. It's called We're the Medicine. It's not my group, but I speak to the group every Tuesday morning. Typically, there's people in there. There's always people in there from at least a couple of countries, U.S. and Canada. But quite frequently, we'll have people in there from Australia and Ireland and England and a few other countries that drop in and out. So it's a diverse group, and they're all Rainbow Warriors. And everybody we're a group of healers. We're the medicine. We teach what we most need to know, and together we grow stronger. And we can't be any stronger than me. So it's all about that focus. And when you become more conscious of yourself, your environment, then you will be the difference that the Creator makes in everyone else's life around you and all that lives.
Yes,
Thank you, Brother Carl.
All righty. And if you have any events coming up in Arkansas, shoot me an email and I'll try to be there.
Will do, brother. Take care. Be blessed.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
This is Dark Matter News. I'm Joshua Stark. Amazon MGM Studios is bringing back Stargate with a brand new series on Prime Video. The show will be led by Martin Gero, creator of Stargate Universe and a longtime Stargate writer-producer. He'll serve as creator and showrunner. Amazon says this isn't a reboot, it's a new chapter that continues in the existing Stargate universe. Veteran franchise figures like Brad Wright and Joe Malozzi are involved as consulting producers, and original Stargate creators Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich are also executive producers. No casting or plot details have been shared yet. More information will come later. But Gero says that the goal is to create an accessible entry point for newcomers while satisfying longtime fans. Look for filming in 2026 with a possible premiere in 2027. This is Dark Matter News.
Looking for a portable radio that has slip into your pocket? Take a look at the CC Pocket AM/FM, Nowhere Weather Radio, plus alert with clock and sleep timer. We combine ease of use, very good reception, and sharp, well-defined audio together in this little jewel of a radio. You can listen on the built-in speaker or the included high-quality original CC Bud earphones tuned for superior voice quality and music. It has 5 one-touch memories, R-type buttons for each band, and stands upright when needed. To get your CC Pocket Radio, you can call 1-800-522-8863 or visit us on the web at ccrane.com. Once again, that's CCRANE.com. And remember, they make a great Christmas gift.
Scientists have discovered an extraordinary new species, a carnivorous caterpillar in Hawaii that lives inside spider webs and builds its home out of the body parts of its insect prey. Rather than feeding on plants like almost all moth or butterfly larvae, this caterpillar, dubbed the bone collector, stalks spiders' webs inside tree hollows, logs, or rock crevices and scavenges on insects trapped there. It isn't just about the insects, though. It harvests their remains. The caterpillar carefully selects, trims, and attaches parts such as fly wings, weevil heads, and other insect fragments to its portable silk case. The end result is a grotesque yet ingenious camouflage that helps it go unnoticed by spiders and other potential predators. In more than 2 decades of field work and over 150 surveys in its limited habitat, a 15 square kilometer patch of forest on the island of Oahu, researchers have found only 62 individuals of this species. Genetic analysis suggests this lineage is at least 6 million years old, predating the formation of the current high Hawaiian Islands. Because this is the only known species of its kind, and because its habitat is tiny and threatened by invasive species and habitat loss, scientists warn that without conservation efforts, this unique bone collector lineage could vanish. This discovery reveals a mode of life that scientists never imagined for caterpillars, a rare example of predatory behavior. That's it for Dark Matter News. Catch up with us on the Midnight Frequency Facebook page. From Memphis, Tennessee, I'm Joshua Stark.
In the early hours after the tsunami, it was ham radio that was on the air, saving lives. When Florida was ripped by hurricanes, the hams were there. In the critical moments after the attack of 9/11, it was the hams who coordinated emergency messages. When disasters strike, the hams are ready. Ham radio works when other communications don't. To learn how you can become a ham radio operator, call the ARRL, the National Association for Amateur Radio, at 1-800-326-3942.
Welcome back to Midnight Frequency Radio. I hope everyone enjoyed our guest this evening. And next Saturday night, December 20th at 9 p.m., we'll have Kevin Randall. The topic will be UFOs and UAP sightings. I hope everyone will try to make it back for next Saturday's program. For Art Bell, Joshua Stark, Josh Cheers, I'm Carl Richardson. Until next time, explore the unknown.